the design of sample surveys. Let us study on some of the examples. Like when a census is conducted, it is from a population where um, a huge community is numbers have been counted, and sampling technique has been chosen to select only particular set of people, particular group or particular number of people. So then that forms sampling technique. The survey conducted in general is where you are trying to find the sample survey taken. So sample design is a definite plan for obtaining a given population. It decides on what is the sample size. So the sample design is determined before data to be collected. So what are the steps that are to be taken into consideration while doing the sample design? In the sample design, objective has to be very clearly defined, why only that particular sample has been chosen. So what is the type of universe from which it has been taken, whether that universe is finite or infinite. So we will have what is the, in the largest of it, why only a certain set has been picked as a sample, what is the objective of picking that up. Then sampling unit, what are the geographical, construction, social and individual impact of it. Source list, it also contains all the items of a universe. What are the sources from which it is taken? Size of the sample, it defines on what is the particular size of the sample by its representativeness. Then it is the reliability of it, and also the flexibility with which it has been picked out as a sample, and also the efficiency of the sample matters. So the parameters of the interest vary from each type of sample interested in collecting, and in that any specific changes that is found with respect to various parameters will have to be considered. So data collection has to be done in order to in order to execute that. So non-respondents are to be kept aside, and budgetary constraints have to be thought about, because the procedure should be economical in conducting throughout the research. Hence it is required to be taken up in that context, and sampling procedure has to be done. A good sample design will be a representative sample, and also it gives a very small error, and it is viable in context of funds that are required to do the research study. So sample design must be done in such a way there is not much of a bias, and the results in the samples are more reliable, and it gives good level of confidence in taking the design. So there are non-sampling errors and sampling errors. The sampling errors which arises are basically used to whenever it is taken with respect to certain criteria, such as if a noise data has been collected, a sample which has been collected during a day from morning 6 to evening 6, it also depends on different weather conditions at which the monitoring has been conducted, and the samples which are to be chosen from the design also differs in other factors. So non-sampling error is due to the reasons rather than sampling. It is only the mass collection of the data that is done during the survey process can also find some errors. Both the errors can be controlled, but it cannot be made equivalent to zero. Complete enumeration is free from sampling errors, but is subjected to non-sampling errors. Sample survey is to be both sampling and non-sampling errors. So uh, when we talk of non-sampling errors, it is like it is the conceptual error in which the concept has been thought of, and in that direction how the samples have been correct. So inaccurate measurement is one of the reasons for cause of and sometime skipping of the measurement, skipping of the monitoring of the readings, all that will also cause errors, and also personal bias of the interviewer, and also inconsistency, and there is some self-interest, or there is some prestige and recall lapse, and also absence of proper informant. So like this, there is a difference between census to that of the sampling. It is like data which has been collected. Census is where members of the population is only represent group will be taken in sampling. So with the time consuming process is census, but sampling is very fast process. It is in census you get more data, and then it is so many times you will have to take the extracts for it from this for a sample data. Sample data are, it has to be reliable and accurate, and also yeah, it should be as much as possible error free. But normally census data will be heterogeneous as it consists of more data, and also the homogeneity is expected only in the sampling data. So there are different types of samples which have been. Unrestricted sampling is where you have both simple and random sampling will be possible. Collecting that non-probability sampling, where you are just collecting for the sake of convenience or for the sake of some information to be obtained, is where a particular parameter without focusing you are collecting that as a haphazard and convenient sampling. Restricted sampling is where we do that clutter sampling, and then it will be very systematic, and also it will be stratified. So purposive sampling is where it is like judgmental sampling, on which it would be possible to take the um, uh, uh, data that are required. So on the basis of the probability and each item, population has to be calculated from the sample, and if that is done, the judgment of the researcher is the key thing there. How it has been taken for that kind of a sample. That will be an example for quota sampling. Non-probability samples are purposive, accidental, quota sample, and judgment sample, where incidental is or the accidental one has its own advantages and disadvantages. Very easy method of sampling, and appropriate for behavioral sciences, and it reduces time, money, as well as energy. Disadvantages are it is not free from errors, as it is not a particular representative sample, so we cannot use those parameters strongly. Purposive is where arbitrary based, and it is based on the available knowledge, and it has got significant variables, and easily it could be matched, where homogeneity of the subjects are possible. Disadvantages are where parametric statistics cannot be used, and it has got inability to make generalization concerning to total so what is quota sampling is where easy sampling techniques, and the disadvantages, it is not a representative sample, and it has got an influence of what is the geographical conditions that exist, that will have direct influence on the sampling that has been conducted. In judgmental, it is the knowledge of the investigator that has been used, and it is very economical process where they are not much free from errors, and there are statistics that cannot be completely relied on. So probabilistic sampling is where it is possible for sample combination an equal probability of each chosen, and it ensures statistical regularity, and sampling is without the replacement. So there are different types in probabilistic sampling, where simple random sampling could be taken, systematic sampling, stratified sampling, multiple or double sampling, multiple stage sampling, and that of the cluster sampling. A brief introduction to each. Simple is where it is selected randomization, like tossing up a coin, throwing a dice, lottery. All these are considered as random sampling, where something which has been tossed and taken, it is used for basically inferential purpose. And disadvantages, it is because of the size of the sample, it is a disadvantage. Systematic sampling is where you are taking it like what is the population size in a given sample size, like that, since it is known set of data from which it has to be taken, and then with parameters aligned systematically for collecting the data. It is it is actually associated with drawings and conclusions. It can't ensure the representativeness, and it has got conclusions and generalizations that can be done by observation. It reduces the field cost. So stratified sampling is where strata on the basis of some characteristics have been chosen, and it gives a predetermined number, and it is a good representative of population. It will actually be costly and time consuming, and also there are risks in the data, hence it is not much preferred. So multiple or repetitive sampling is where it leads to more precision, eliminate differential opinions, and also it is more time consuming and costlier. Multi-stage sampling is where subsequent levels the sample will be kept on considered for the process of research, where it could be like from a smallest from area to a taluk, from taluk to district to state to country to continent, like this. A good representative of population data would be taken, and then multi-stage sampling, where complex method of sampling could be tried out. It is very subjective to phenomena, and there are some secondary data which are obtained, that there could be some errors that can actually. So clutter sampling is where whole entire this area of data will be divided into number of overlapping areas known as clusters. So good representative samples could be possible out of this. They are very easy and economical. They could be practical, and they will have some error and subjective phenomenon when it has to be considered for research work. So this is how a sampling has been divided into various types, and this sampling has got lot of role in carrying out the research. Thank you.